on the Triforce podcast, see? Yeah, you like that, don't you, Copper? Huh? I've been watching some old movies this week.
Nice. Very, very good.
How old?
Yeah. Well,
fucking
30s and
old.
40s, that's where, Buster. Yeah. You're not on the trolley, are you?
The golden age.
I watched some films because I've been streaming in the mornings and a bit into the afternoon. And then Mrs. F is around. She's got the week off because my oldest has gone back to school. So she's, chilling with her and stuff, getting her used to being on her own again. And I've been going down in the afternoon and we've been sticking on an old movie. Oddly enough, iPlayer has a lot of older movies on. I didn't know this until Mrs. F pointed it out. But if you go look on iPlayer and films, there's tons of old movies, absolutely tons. Very old, a lot of them very good.
Yeah.
So I watched Angelface, which is a film.
Angelface.
Angelface, yeah. But it's not a gangster movie. It's a crisscross double murder. It's which is quite funny. And then we watched Double Indemnity, which is a film noir classic about a guy.
Hey, doll. Now listen here, see?
Literally.
You got double indemnity to yourself.
This guy, he says, he walks in. Now, bear in mind, he's trying to sell her insurance, life insurance, because you can get, I don't know if you still can, I don't believe you can, but you could take out life insurance on someone else's life. And they didn't even necessarily need to know about this policy. So she's like this sort of scheming film noir kind of sort of villainous character, like the way a lot of women were. When you see them in these movies, they're just lit on the eyes. They're normally in shadow. They're always smoking. Hey, mister, you got a light for a gal? Sure thing, doll face, And so he goes in and he says, hang my hat up, will you? And just gives her his hat. And she like scurries off to hang his hat up. And it's just like all throughout the movie, he's basically like, get me a cup of coffee to whichever woman is in sight. And it just makes me laugh. That's the way you do it. If there's a woman to hand, get her to make your coffee or hang your hat up or stuff. It just cracks me up. So the whole film, although it was brilliant, it is so incredibly dated that it sticks out like a sore thumb. I recommend watching it just for those moments alone are hilarious.
Oh man.
Is it very World War II like?
No, it's pre-war. This is either pre-war or post-war. Like most of them are set pre-war, but I think quite a lot of them were made in the 40s and 50s. Some of them are made like during the war and they just don't mention it because I guess the Americans hadn't gotten involved yet. But there was one, Angelface, which was made. I think it was probably made in the late 30s. Let me look it up. Actually, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. 1953. This was made. Okay, so
what is Double Indemnity? I guess it's not like Double Jeopardy.
No, Double Indemnity is
Double Jeopardy is
to do with
movie,
insurance. I think. Let me see if I can find the movie. It's a
Isn't
film.
Double
1944.
Jeopardy starring Ashley Judd? I'm
Let's
pretty
have a
sure
look. Double Jeopardy.
It was.
Double Jeopardy.
She's accused of like killing her husband, and then she gets off somehow, and then she actually kills her husband in the end, but she can't be tried for it again.
All right, so who was her husband?
Deserves it.
Who was her husband in that movie?
I want to say that it was like Bill Paxton or somebody like that, but I don't think it was.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
So a Double Indemnity is to do with it's an insurance thing. Let me see if I can find the details of it because they mention it, but I couldn't remember.
Oh, here you go. Yeah, doubles the payout in rare cases.
That's right.
Where the death is weird, such as falling off a train.
Yes, so they connive to do that. There's a lot of at the one of the best bits is he shoots this woman. He goes, "Goodbye, baby!" Bang, bang, and shoots her. It's just so good. But it is a really good film. It is really really good. But yeah, they're so dated. It's incredible. It's just amazing. I recommend it very much.
It's a real look into the Hollywood movie culture of that time and how people were so different. Certainly from what we're used to. Although we had such a similar, I guess, lives. Really in terms of you went to work and you dressed up smart and you. I don't know, you ate out at restaurants, and drank coffee.
Not that much has changed. I mean, people had cars, they had jobs, we had planes, they had telephones.
But the cultural attitude towards people was so different.
Very different.
Certainly, with all of the riots going on in America at the moment, it's tough. Like, it's been very tough. I don't know, it's obviously dominated the news this week that there's this kind of big, kind of final like snap, I guess, of something which has been a systemic issue in America that we've kind of joked about and also just been aware of, in terms of both police brutality, but also racism inherent in society.
I feel like there was a straw that the camel's back could only take so much, right?
I mean, there was the Rodney King kind of riots back in 1992 in America, and that was something which is so many parallels to today, and that's 30 years ago. So it's this systemic issue that's never been addressed, and it's just still so prevalent to today.
What I think the interesting thing is the Rodney King riots were very much centered around like rioting in LA, and it was mainly black people rioting in LA was like the Rodney King riots, the LA riots and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this feels much more like a national, we've had enough movement. And I think it's exposed a lot about how angry people are. I mean, if you watch the video of George Floyd being murdered, there's no way this was an accident. I mean, if you look at the cop doing it, he's got his hands in his pockets. I wouldn't be surprised if he's jiggling his dick with one of the hands in his pocket. He seems to be enjoying it very much that he's got his knee on this guy's neck. I was fucking disgusted. And then you see the police driving their cars into people.
Yeah, I know.
It's fucking disgusting.
We really are seeing, like, the thing is, everything's captured on video now. And unfortunately, the media does show us the dark side of it all. And it's very ironic. I know. It's very ironic, though, that this sort of the cause of this is sort of a police brutality. But at the same time, we are seeing that so much more of it since this riots are going on, and it's kind of ironic that the answer to the riots about police brutality are more police brutality. It's mind-boggling.
But it's been going on for a long time. They can't help themselves because I don't think that they're trained properly in the first place.
Yeah, a lot of them are just not very smart.
And it's this ingrained cultural kind of bias against the black community, clearly. And I'm sure, look, we're not the right people to talk about this, and we're not even in the right country. Well, it does affect the UK to some extent, and in London there's some similar issues, and certainly in other cities too. It's not entirely America centric, but it is.
But this is what's happening now. I mean, that's another thing I see is people constantly saying, "Well, it's not this," and there's all different sides to all this. I mean, let's just talk about this. I mean, this is unbelievable that it's happened, and it's unbelievable the response to it, and it's genuinely a completely bipartisan issue. You got Republicans coming out and saying Donald Trump is fucking this up. Because he is. This is going to divide America, and they also know there is a fucking election coming up. I would be amazed. I'd assumed for a very long time that he would win a second election because I just think it's very rare for an incumbent president to lose a second election. It's unusual. More often than not, you win once, you're going to win the second time because people are like, wow, he's already in there. Give him a shot.
Did you disconnect?
No, I didn't disconnect.
Hello?
I'm still here. Can you hear me? Can you guys still hear me?
He was in the middle of a rant and he just disconnected.
Yeah, I think.
Oh my god, they can't hear me.
But it's probably the CIA spying on him. He's getting too close to the truth, so they cut him off.
He is. That's right. They had to cut him off.
Just bombed out his internet. Yeah. Fuck.
That's true, Sips. Holy shit.
That's brutal.
Well, before we go too deep into the angry side of it, I mean, I think that what we're not necessarily being showed is all of the riots that are, or not the riots, like the protests that are peaceful and are gentle, and a lot of cities are doing it right and are not looting and punching reporters and cameramen in the face. I mean, they're the extreme cases that we see.
Of course, yeah. But again, it's without that. And it's sad, but
it's a positive thing. It raises attention and awareness, and I think a lot of people are doing it in ways that are correct. But it's so tough. There's always going to be bad apples. And America, God, when you've got a country that's neglected mental health care for people and allows, guns on every street corner, you've got this. I think you've got a much more.
I feel like their problems are so deep that this is just not even like the close to the root of it. You know what I mean? It's a symptom of it, and there's so many other symptoms as well that sort of get their limelight when things crop up or whatever.
Hello.
P-Flex, you got disconnected.
Yeah,
the CIA cut you off.
I think the CIA bombed you for your.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can hear you now.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Sorry, listeners.
No,
we were having some technical.
My Discord crashed.
issues.
It's all right. We understand. They want to silence the truth, but they're not going to. That's
right.
Here at the Triforce podcast.
You can't keep Flax down. He's gonna say what he's gonna say, and you can't stop him. That's the thing. He's like a runaway train in the middle of the night.
That's right. My rant was cut off, but
I must admit that my house over this course of this coronavirus has gotten a little bit like a looted Best Buy, and it's just a fucking complete shithole. So on Sunday, I was like, I'm gonna spend an hour tidying up.
Oh, you know what? On that topic, because I've done that quite a few times recently with various things. It sucks doing it. It sucks leading up to doing it, right? Like
you don't want to do it.
Psyching yourself up to doing it.
Well, I booked an hour. I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it 11 till 12 on Sunday.
Even the depressing notion of booking an hour to clean something or whatever, the whole thing sucks, right?
Yeah,
but
I was dreading it, and I was like thinking, can I put it off? But then I was like, fuck it, I want to do this. And
but
so
then after
I went through and cleared out a bunch of cupboards, chucked a load of shit in the bin.
Yeah,
I went down to the bin and took a load of bin bags of old crap down that I was just like, I've got all these old board games I never use. I've got an old Vive that I bought like 5 years ago, used like twice. So I boxed up a load of crap, tidied up, and I felt like a little bit, not a big weightlifting, but a little bit of a pressure lift off me. I don't know. I liked it. It was a little bit cathartic.
Yeah, so you get some satisfaction out of it, right? I cleared out my garden shed the other week, which turns out is like a TARDIS. Like I can't believe how much fucking stuff was in there. It was unbelievable. Like my whole driveway.
Out of sight, out of mind. If you can, like a shed especially, it's not like a cupboard. You might open a cupboard occasionally. How often do you go down to a shed?
No, never.
And then you go down there to dump stuff in it, and I mean, you just sort of open the door and throw it in there and then close the door.
And the catalyst for change for this was I had to go get my son's bike out of the shed because he decided he wanted to ride his bike around, and a whole bunch of stuff collapsed.
You were in there for like 2 hours looking for it.
And I got so annoyed that I was like, fuck it. This is now taken my top priority. Like I will systematically unfuck this shed if it's the last thing I do. And I did.
Yeah. Nice.
And I put all the junk that I wanted to get rid of from out of the shed onto my driveway. My driveway was full of shit. There was crap everywhere. And then I called this guy who turned up in a truck, loaded it all up.
Man with a van.
Yeah, and he took it to the dump, and it was a big old load. I couldn't have done it myself. At first I thought, you know what, I'm going to start loading up the car, and then I thought to myself, nah, this isn't my.
What did you chuck out? I want a list.
Oh God, there was old stuff. Like we had like this old shelving unit that was like modular. You could take it apart and put it back together, like the poles. It had like these little plastic things that
I know what you mean.
Held the shelf in place, and we used to put
like one of those cheap storage things.
Yeah, you find
like
it in like
but you think, oh well, I don't want to chuck it because it's kind of
it's like a shelf for paint or something in a garage. Like there was like one of those. There was a whole bunch of old bags of hay and straw. We used to keep guinea pigs. Yeah, a long time ago.
Guinea pigs.
But we had a whole bunch of paraphernalia for them after we moved. We haven't had any since.
Paraphernalia.
It's like
that's a word that's only ever used by police when they arrest like
this is so funny,
weed
right?
smokers. Yeah,
I've been watching Live PD, which is
shit.
So I got recommended. I don't know why YouTube suggested. I think because I've been watching videos about the riots.
This is what happens. Mine has just gone onto chess now. I'm watching this guy called
loads of chess videos.
Nakamura, or whatever his name is.
Yes, his streams are good. But so it's now been suggested to me Live PD.
Okay,
which is it's an as live show. I don't believe it's completely live, but it's very popular in America. There's a This American Life podcast about it. Yeah. So here's my list of things that I have picked up so far about Live PD. All right, number 1. An awful lot of Americans drive around with guns, weed, meth, and paraphernalia in their car. I don't know why they have to have it on them at all times. I don't know why, like, oh, I'm just popping to the shop. Oh, hand me that crack pipe and those baggies of meth because I've got to go get some beer. You know, and I'm going to drink the beer in the car while I'm driving home, and I'm going to drive like an idiot. That's the other thing. They all drive these busted up cars with fucked up taillights, and they drive like idiots. They don't signal. They're veering all over the place. They'll just park up randomly because they're so fucking high they can't drive anymore. And the police come up and say, and they go, "Hey, can you wind down the window for me, please?" And you immediately do not do that, okay? Because once you wind down the window, all the weed smell comes out, and they go, "Strong smell of weed coming off the car. You hop out for me, please?" And now they've got probable cause. Like, it's the funniest thing is like the arguments that they have with the police are the same. Is there anything in the car I should know about? First of all, they say, "You got anything in your pockets, anything sharp that's going to spike me or hurt me? You got any weapons on you?" "No, sir." "Is there anything in the car?" "There's nothing in the car." And then they'll say, "Okay, because I'm going to look in the car, and if I find something, it's going to go badly for you. Be honest with me." They say, "All right, there's some weed in the car." And they'll say, "All right, it's just a little bit of weed." "Oh, just a tiny bit." And then they'll go and look, and they'll find like 3 kilograms of weed. And then the guy says, "This car isn't mine." That always happens. Okay. "Whose car is it?" "Oh, I borrowed it from my brother's girlfriend's mum, who borrowed it from her uncle." "Okay, whose weed is this?" "Oh, the weed isn't mine. I didn't even know it was in there." And then they'll say, "Okay, we're going to keep searching, get the drug dog." And they'll say, "Yeah, okay, so that meth that you found and those 2 guns, they're not mine." And then they'll say, "All right, you're under arrest." They'll say, "Well, what did I do wrong? What were you arresting me?" Like every single time it's the same. There's nothing in the car. Okay, there's some weed in the car. The car isn't mine. The weed isn't mine. All the other stuff you just found isn't mine. What did I do wrong? Like it's like a flow chart in their brain, and it's just panic. They just panic. Or the police will knock on the window and the guy turns and there's sweat pouring off him. "You seem nervous. Are you all right?" "Yeah, I'm just fine." There's nothing in the car. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But it's very funny.
I honestly, if I got stopped by American police, I would be terrified.
I would be shitting my
People
pants,
always, every time I see like someone standing up to the police, I'm always like shocked. Like some guys like saying, you know, "What am I being stopped for?" Or like as soon as they like, I'm like, "Oh God, I know you're supposed to like say these things." So I'm like, Jesus, why would you say that? Just fucking do whatever.
No, you mustn't. You mustn't. You haven't watched the other videos that get recommended to you. What to do when you get stopped by the police.
But they've never been. I've seen so many times when it's just gone the opposite way. Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like it feels like.
No. All right, I watched this guy. He's a lawyer. First of all, I found it a little shady that this guy was telling you how to get away from being caught by the police. But number one, the police pull you over for something. Busted taillight, or you were driving a bit funky. Don't wind down your window the whole way.
I'm driving along. I've got 3 kilos of meth. It's not mine.
Right.
It's not my car.
Yeah.
Right. It's my auntie's.
You failed to turn signal.
Auntie's
you failed to make a turn signal. The police pull you over. I'll be the officer and you be the guy. I'll tell you everything you've done wrong.
All right.
That's me knocking on your window.
All right,
you wind the window down for me, sir?
I'm winding the window down. It's a bit squeaky. Hey, hello.
So the reason I pulled you over today is because you failed to make a turn signal back there. Do you have your license and registration and insurance documentation on you, please?
No. I've got it at home in the box.
Okay, you are meant to carry it with you, sir.
Wrong,
but whose car is this?
Wrong.
Is this your car?
This isn't even my car. Is what you're meant to say.
Whose car is it?
Nothing is yours.
Yeah.
Sips is your passenger, by the way, so anything he says, the cop is going to hear as well. Can you guys just keep your hands where I can see him, please? Stop reaching around in your pockets. Put them on the dashboard. Now tell me...
I was thinking, because I think I might have a copy of my driver's license in my wallet, but I haven't got the paper bit. I've only got the card bit.
You don't need the paper bit. I just need the card. If you have your card, go ahead and get your wallet for me.
I've got that. I can show you that.
You're already being dragged out of the car and shot, Lewis. You're talking way too much.
So the first, you've done so much wrong. All right, so he'll say, "Is there anything in the car I should know about? Anything illegal in the car?"
No.
So you wouldn't mind me having a look inside the car?
Do you have to?
Well, sir, yeah, it would be much easier for you if I did it now. If I have to detain you and if I have to take the car away down to the station, anything you bring there, if you've had drugs on you when we take you to jail, that will count as you smuggling drugs into jail. And it would be much better to get it off you here
rather than get it. Work?
rather than get a bigger sentence down at the station. So tell me now, is there anything in the car that there shouldn't be there?
No, it's all good.
Okay, so it's okay to search it. If you just hop out, sir, and my partner here is gonna look after you while I have a look around your car. So you get out of the car?
Yep.
Sips gets out of the car?
No, I refuse. I'm still sitting in the car.
Okay, sir, can you get out of the car, please?
No.
Okay, we got a problem here. All right, put cuffs on Lewis. And now I'm going to call for backup.
Uh-oh.
And now we can definitely search your car. And we're going to forcibly remove you from the car if you don't get out in the next few seconds. So I need you to get out of the car, or we're going to drag you out of the car and cuff you. You'll be arrested.
Oh, God.
This has gone exactly how I thought it would go on TV.
Yeah.
This has gone exactly as badly as I thought it would go.
All for a simple traffic stop. And now I'm searching your car. You might have an old joint stuffed down the back of the seat.
Brought into my car.
You don't know what
probably
he's
got some old fucking hamster straw back there. They're gonna think it's like some fucking
you're helping me
weed.
take all my stuff from my shed to the dump. That's what
now,
the car is.
You don't know what is in there. A little ball of cocaine might have fallen out from some old shoe, right? And now that's in the car. You're gonna catch that. All of this stuff that's gone wrong could be prevented very simply. Number one, obviously there are times this will go wrong. Your license and registration have to be on you, and they have to be to hand. When the officer stops you, don't wind your window all the way down. Just wind it down a tiny bit, just enough that you can hear him. You say, "What can I help you with, officer?" And he'll say, do you have your ID and registration, please? And you pass those out the window. As long as you don't have any warrants on you, he'll write you a ticket, he gives you back your ID, and you go. That's the idea. If they say to you, is there anything in the car that shouldn't be there? You should say, no, there is nothing illegal in the car. Well, you don't mind me searching then, do you? I do not want to be searched. I do not want you searching my car. You don't have probable cause. I don't want you searching my car. Because if they find anything, you're going to fucking jail. You are going to jail. And you've given them this free opportunity to search your car because they haven't got probable cause. When you wind the window down all the way and all this weed smoke comes pouring out, now they've got probable cause. But until you do that, they don't have probable cause. They've stopped you for a traffic violation. They give you the ticket for that. End of story. But people dig themselves into this hole. They're digging and they're digging and they're digging. There's nothing in the car. They're only a little meth, and then all of a sudden they're going to prison.
Well, I mean, in some cases, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess, like when you, the thing is, like, on one hand, I feel like they shouldn't do this at all. They shouldn't have to do these bullshit tactics to like catch people, right? For a start. I feel like the policy shouldn't be to be so tricky and aggressive and cheaty and scummy, because it can just lead to them planting stuff, and all sorts of problems. Like, there should be it shouldn't be allowed that they can do these tricksy things.
What, like, say to you don't mind me searching your car, do you?
I mean, all of this bullshit doesn't feel like it should be doesn't feel like it's a good way to live.
It's purely because the rules are there to protect people. And the police have to get past those rules to catch people, generally. Like, it's rare that someone's just going to the police officer's going to say, hi, the reason I'm stopping you is because of the weed in my car. Like, that's not going to happen very often. And like I said, an awful lot of people, certainly on live PD, drive around with stuff on them they shouldn't have. Loads. You know what the other thing is? An awful lot of Americans have been to jail for relatively minor things. You get banged up pretty quickly in America. Like, it's a very, very, very strict legal system that they've got, and you can get locked up for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And an awful lot of shit is illegal over there. Like stuff where they're like, okay, you go to jail. And it might only be 30 days or whatever, but a lot of people have done time. Look up the numbers. They have the most prisoners in the world.
Yeah.
Or in America. They're very quick to lock people up. So a lot of people have history, and also a lot of people have warrants. They could be for minor things, but they've got them. And the moment you get pulled over, you're opening yourself up to a whole world of legal pain. And the police know that. And I guess if they pull you over and you get, it's nothing. Like, I got pulled over. I think I'd spoke about this before. I went through a stop sign. I was lost. I was unfamiliar with driving in America. I went through a stop sign and the cop I didn't even see him. Whoop! Like that. And there was the lights and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to get shot in the face or something. This guy pulled me over. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
And he explained how stop signs work in a very patronizing way, which was very funny. And that's fine. It was a perfectly normal stop. I genuinely didn't have anything illegal in the car because I'm a fucking tourist. I'm not going to be that stupid. But if I'm just some local guy who smokes weed occasionally and maybe, even some meth, which is not cool. Don't drive like an idiot. It's really simple. But like my dad always says, if you break one law, why don't you break some more?
It's odd because it's very fishing, right? It's like they're going out fishing for criminal activity, and I mean I get it. Like, I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, like, why is America like this? Why is America like this? Because I mean, like like Sweden or some other country, even the UK mostly, like what is it? Is it just a massive population? Is it like the weather? Is it like the psychology? Is like that kind of hoorah of your freedom, like culture? Like for example, there's in this coronavirus thing, there's been this sort of very much blitz spirit, right? Almost like the people in the UK have had this. We went through the blitz to almost a fallback on, even though barely anyone, is still alive from that time. Anyone who's lived through the blitz is like it's 80 or 90 now, right? But we have this kind of national sentiment where it feels like as the British we could get through this. We got through the Nazis bombing every city and all this.
Well, we love to struggle. We love to struggle.
But that's this kind of overriding thing that we could kind of fall back on in our national psyche, right?
Yeah.
Whereas America have this slightly different culture where it's almost like we could do it ourselves. We can build our house. We can carve out our own destiny. We can work hard.
There's general things like that. Overarching in America that is true sort of thing, but like if you're looking at like how police forces or police departments work like across the whole country and stuff, there's lots of inconsistencies like from state to state. And same with that's same true. With criminal justice, same with governance, like everything, like everywhere is different. A lot of problems that America had, like in say like the 70s and the 80s, when serial killers were getting kind of going out of control and they were harder to like track down and stuff, is because a lot of the police departments wouldn't even talk to each other. They had no sort of like idea what was going on, just like a county over from them sort of thing. Like they didn't share information. The training programs are all different. Like you can become a cop in California after like 48 weeks of training, or
it's way less than that.
You could become a cop in Virginia in 16 weeks of training. You know what I mean? And it's like,
it's crazy.
You don't get that as much in the UK because the entire system is the same across the UK. It doesn't matter which force you work for. It all lines into the same thing, right? But I don't think America has anything like that. So there's all sorts of imbalances all across their system. Some places will be better than others.
I mean, you're right. It's a someone in one state is completely different. I mean, it's like 100 countries in one, America.
But I think I also think it's really natural. Like it's almost like a natural human thing for police to profile in the way that they do. I'm not saying it's right, and I would never defend them either. But police forces in areas where profiling is done a lot more than, say, some sleepy town that has like 2,000 people in it, and they're all sort of like, polo shirt, khaki wearing white people. You know what I mean? That like the police force there is going to be far different to like a police force in like a big city where they're profiling like crazy all the time. There's a lot of guns in America, so that there's always going to be some element of people being scared that somebody's got a concealed weapon or whatever. And like, it just feels like so many things all lead into these bigger problems. And the whole, it feels like the whole thing is just such a fucking mess. And like,
so in Connecticut, right, listen to this. I mean, you have to be 21, have a high school diploma. In other words, you need to have graduated from school, like basic school, nothing more than that. A driver's license, no criminal record, and you have to do 818 hours of basic training. That's 30 days.
Yeah, it's not.
So
it's
after a month, and a 21-year-old could be anybody. As long as he hasn't got a criminal record, he's a fucking cop now.
I feel like
30 days.
I feel like,
and they're armed.
I feel like it's crazy too. You see, like the footage that Flax is talking about cars ramming people, horses trampling people. Like it is disgusting, and it just shows how ill-equipped some of these people are, like, to be doing their jobs, right? Like, say you run a police force and you're hiring people or whatever, and you found out that one of your guys is acting like that, you'd want to get rid of him straight away, right? Like, there's just no way that person is in any sort of control if they're doing that. It's just.
But all right, so let's
crazy.
say that you've got some guys who've been cops for 10 years, and they're racists. I'm absolutely not saying that they are all like that, but it doesn't matter. because enough of them are that if you have 30 days training and you're 21 or 22, and the guy who's been there 10 years, big guy, a lot of respect around the police force, very tough, very confident. If he tells you this is the way it is, you're going to believe him.
Yeah.
Because he knows what he's doing. If you go to any job, you don't think this was against the training. You think, I'll do what everybody else is doing, because that's how jobs work.
Yeah.
You tend to fall into line along what your colleagues are doing. And there's a very, very much a sort of blue wall where they don't dob on each other. They look out for each other. They see it as like a team.
Yeah.
That they are on, and it's far more than just an office. If you noticed at work that some guy you didn't know particularly well was fucking stealing stuff, you might tell someone. You know, Tony is stealing constantly from the office. He stole a computer the other week. You tell someone, but in the police force, you don't.
No,
and that means that these bad apples can corrupt an awful lot. And there's more than bad apples. These are fucking arseholes.
Yeah,
and they're corrupting a lot of these guys around.
Apparently, in America as well, the unions that like protect police officers or work for police officers are really powerful, like huge, really powerful, and will oftentimes get officers off for misconduct or whatever, without any jail time, without any any sort of like knock-on effects to like the rest of their lives, sort of thing. Like they could get caught up on some sort of misconduct or whatever, and then just get discharged from the force.
Yeah, quite often you think, see these guys get away with it.
Fine, this guy is out, but only to then move a state over and get a job as a police officer there because they can. And it's like there's just there's so many problems. Like it's like a
You're right.
It's like an unsolvable thing. It's just they're so deep and there's so many, and it's just the whole thing is just completely out of whack. Like it's just.
You know what else you were saying about Lewis was asking, why do they do all this tricksy stuff and why are they so determined to catch all this stuff? A lot of the states in America, if the police seize stuff, they get to keep that stuff, whether it's money, whether it's equipment or anything they pinch. If they think that you've got it illegally, they will take it and they get to keep it.
Yeah.
So if they stop you, if you watch, there was a really good Daily Show about this a few years back.
God, you're right. And they had like these little sort of countryside police forces who like did a big drug bust or seized a load of stuff, and they bought like themselves all these SUVs and like machine guns, and almost like a tank and stuff.
Right.
Like,
I mean, if you look at the police, yes, these are riot police, but they've brought out the National Guard. American police, when I was a kid, the police in New York wore a blue shirt, dark blue trousers. They had their belt with the truncheon and the gun and odds and ends, but they had a regular old hat.
Well, yeah.
Right? Just the old police. They looked more like cops.
I think I
feel like the police now look like fucking paramilitaries.
They are. They started militarizing their police in the 90s under Clinton, I think, was like the big sort of instigator for that, after being like lobbied to death by like, people who wanted to see this thing, to see this kind of stuff. He
extended the 3 strikes thing. Like, he fucked up.
Well, yeah.
The 3 strikes thing put an awful lot of people, because your 3rd strike could be something very minor and you're going to prison for fucking forever.
Well, they don't even have to be violent crimes. Most of the people in prison are not there for violent crimes. No, but that's, again, it's a vital component to the privatization of all their prisons and stuff too.
I don't think you should have a police system based on a shitty sport anyway that only America plays. I mean, it's like there's so many. You're right, Sips. There's so many. Like it is so overwhelmingly depressing to think that corporate lobbying and the corporate powers of the companies who run America and Donald Trump and religion and all this crap and brainwashing and poor education and poor gun control and poor people and poor people who've never been properly emancipated. It's just so many ingrained public massive problems that don't seem to be. Well, I mean,
obviously we're not going to fix it, but I don't even know what the solution is.
I think you have to take bold and brave steps, though. Like Obamacare was this idea originally to, give free healthcare to everyone and actually start solving some of the mental health problems. Like maybe fix the gun issues, like get some proper bans on automatic guns nationwide. Like I think they have to get these big swathes of legislation through one at a time over a course of 10 or 20 years.
But the problem is that they spend a lot of time getting this legislation in, like Obamacare took 2 terms.
It's like his whole presidency almost.
Yeah, to get in, and it's just been stripped away by Trump.
The next guy just goes, we got rid of it.
He went in with like this hate boner for Obamacare, like talked about it all the time. But the thing
you guys are forgetting is that Trump got elected. Like, it's all very well saying that we need to do this and they need to do that, but an awful lot of Americans apparently think this is fine. Like, that's the thing you've got to consider. Is that it's all very well saying this needs to change, but a lot of people are electing people that definitely don't want things to change.
I mean, the thing is, like, I always think that change only happens when the next generation die off. And so we've got to let the young people through. It doesn't help that the president's 80 years old. And is an incredible racist asshole.
But they're all old. Joe Biden's fucking old.
Yeah, he's pretty.
Whoever comes after him is going to be fucking old. For some reason, people only trust old people to run things. Why?
Yeah,
you wouldn't trust an 80-year-old to fucking. If you were on a ship, this is your ship. All right, we're going to be sailing dangerous waters.
Or if you were on
an
airplane,
who are we going to put in charge? Let's find the oldest.
Who do you want as your pilot for an airplane?
Old
do you want an 80-year-old pilot?
Yeah.
Like, who do you want doing surgery on you? An 80-year-old man?
Some guy with shaky hands comes out. What is it? A heart bypass today? No. He's just having his appendix out. Appendix? Hell, don't do appendix operation. Heart. We're going to take his heart out and replace it with peanut. Peanut, get a peanut, put it in there. No, sir, please. We've done. I am the surgeon, goddammit. And if I am going to put the peanut in this man's heart, wherever it goes, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, sir, you're in charge. Why don't they get some young people in to run shit?
Well, maybe they are doing it all behind the scenes, but they're all corrupt.
I think it's because it's
been hamstringed.
I think it's an establishment, just like anything else. When they do get the young people in, they'll be direct descendants of the nasty old people who will, uphold their old shitty values because they've made so much money from it and they have to protect their dynasty and stuff like that. It's all
who's going to be the next Trump president is going to be his daughter.
Well, probably.
What's her fucking name?
Well, probably
the vapid one, the one that he wants to fuck. I can't remember her name.
What a world! What a world we live in! Isn't it amazing?
Bonkers.
The things.
But I guarantee you, a few years' time, when she's still hot and young, they'll say, "Isn't this wonderful? A young female president is finally running. This is fantastic." And all the people who've been calling for a female president for years will be horrified because it's like, yeah, but not that one.
Yeah.
but she will be president. If she ran, I guarantee you she could win a huge number of votes.
I feel like...
Who's she going to run against?
Like,
some old fucker. And they're going to look there and she's going to be all glamorous and she speaks very well. Donald Trump doesn't come out with all these big ideas. He's just very good at appearing impenetrable and beating the other person in a debate. If she just stands there and looks beautiful and says a few of the right things, she'll win. Hands down. Because if it's her or Biden who's up there, I think I should be the president of the... or her, who's like beautiful and I believe that America must come together and I should be the president to do it and I love everybody and you're all awesome and look at me, I have a really good smile and all the rest of it. Hands down, instantly in. Yeah. Instantly.
I know bits and pieces about it, like from the news or things that I've read, and I'm kind of interested in it as well, but I don't know enough about it to be an expert on it. Clearly, I certainly have like opinions on the whole thing or whatever.
Well, that's this whole podcast.
But honestly, the whole thing
is come here for experts.
So crushingly depressing. Like I feel like I never come away from a conversation like this feeling hopeful or good or anything. It's just such a...
Well, no, but you should do though. Like honestly, because you've got to understand that if we have these opinions, the majority of people probably have them as well. Like we're not alone in this feeling, and I think that most people are good people, and they understand that these issues are, money in politics is corrupting, and we do need to.
Well, you got to drain the swamp. Remember, you've seen how effective that's been.
Well, look. I mean, this was the old. We all knew this was going to happen with Donald. I don't know what people expected from Donald Trump. I hope a lot of the people who voted for him have this what's called Trump grit.
No, they don't though. This is the thing, because again, I think the way that things work in America is that a lot of the people are sort of like in the place they need to be. Like they're middle upper middle class or living in the suburbs or whatever, a lot of these things don't register with them. They're not things that they think about. They're not, like these like riots and stuff aren't happening where they live. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people who will just be very sort of like, I'm fine, and never think, never spare another thought to it, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, and I think,
but most of the people that voted for him, I think a lot of the people that voted for him are white and not wealthy, and they are furious because they're like, we're not meant to be the poor ones. The black people are meant to be the poor ones. That's a big factor.
I think you'd be surprised at the kind of people
out protesting on the streets care. I think you see people like then they're the people who are affected. They care. Most people are on their side and also care. Even although there is a lot of what I found. So I heard the first term I've heard about this was this week. Is it called virtue signaling?
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
Where...
You've never heard of that before?
No, I hadn't heard that term. But it kind of defines something which I was very aware of, which is that it's where people kind of falsely hollowly join a sort of political movement in order to look
because it's popular.
Good. And so there's a huge amount of it out there at the moment. Whereas I'm sure some of it is genuine, but it feels like every single company is sending me an email saying, we stand in solidarity with Black Lives Matter or whatever.
Fuck the companies. Like they always do that.
And it's hollow and meaningless, and it makes me throw up a bit in my mouth when I see it. But also I can see that, some people like, Jack Dorsey in charge of Twitter is making, starting to put on Trump's tweets a little exclamation mark when they're bullshit.
Right.
And people at Facebook are protesting.
A lot of people are saying that's censorship.
Well, I'm afraid that that there is also fact checking. I feel like censorship and fact checking are not the same thing.
So I think that it's a good thing that Twitter has done this, and I would sincerely hope. No, a lot of people don't. This is the thing. You're thinking a lot of people think that, but you're talking about people that and maybe talk to about this. And you think, most people probably agree with me. But you're wrong. A lot of people are dead against this. Are very, very firmly against it. They think it's censorship. They think it's wrong. How dare they censor the President of the United States? That's the opinion of a lot of people.
On Twitter.
But not just Twitter, because Twitter is news.
Well,
he's made it news. Think how often you read the president's tweet today. That's the fucking headline now.
Yeah.
So it is more than just Twitter. It's huge because of him. And the fact that his voice is so big and can change everything from political opinion to foreign policy to how other countries think about America, stock prices, all of it. Based on his fucking tweets, it does matter.
I feel like if he's tweeting lies, if people are tweeting like the sky is red, get over it, guys. And you that is just wrong, right? That is just a blatantly factually wrong, and everyone.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Apart from all the people going outside,
You're right. It's blue with bits of white.
I don't think people are entitled to give opinions on facts that are wrong facts. Do you know what I mean?
So here's the one question, because this is I actually had this discussion with some mates of mine. Do you think it seems targeted toward it's like an anti-conservative thing because they've specifically targeted Donald Trump? So it feels like it's a leftist plot, which is how it's being spun, to silence conservative voices. Now, I made the point that he's more than just a conservative voice. He's the most powerful man in the world. And if he is openly lying on your platform, bear in mind, this is not freedom of speech. This is a fucking private company, and he's using their platform. So it's not censorship. They are within their rights to remove messages that are against their terms of service or to fact check stuff because it's their fucking business.
Yeah.
So if he's welcome to say whatever he wants. It's the First Amendment, right? He can say whatever he wants.
No, you can't say whatever you want. Well, you can't.
You can say whatever you want, but you can't. You have a responsibility to not. Well, you can though. The First Amendment is very important.
No, you're allowed to criticize the government without censorship.
I'm just saying they have got these strange rules that make sense in some cases. Like it does protect like certain things. Like there's this Lenny Bruce obscenity trial that happened.
Yeah.
Which is quite famous.
That was very famous.
This comedian was, had a very rude act, which today wouldn't be rude at all.
He said cocksucker, which was verboten back then.
And he was sort of, went through this series of trials and eventually killed himself. Well, I think he died of a drug overdose. He had other problems, but it was certainly compounded by this idea that his act was obscene. Whereas, of course, it's very much something which the First Amendment was supposed to protect. Anyway, this is beyond our knowledge base.
But it's an interesting
I just want to say as well, that's not a term you hear very often anymore. Eh? Somebody calling somebody a cocksucker, like it used to be very common.
You don't hear it much.
You used to hear it all the time. Like, just hearing it reminded me that it's just like this forgotten insult from the past, like
I
many that have died.
It's essentially homophobic. I would assume that's why.
Well, it was the George Carlin's 7 words you can't say on television. Remember, which were shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits.
Tits.
You can say tits now. I think
you couldn't say tits.
Tits is like I feel like especially in Britain, tits you can get away with. You can say like I'm off my tits, or it depends on how you say it, but I think you can just about get away with it.
Do you reckon
cocksucker? Never though. I don't think you'd ever get away with saying cocksucker.
If the newsreader accidentally said tits, like just the broadcast.
Well, again,
tits. They're on everybody's mind.
No, I mean
we're going to do a special undercover look at tits.
Yeah, I mean
on tonight's episode.
Obviously, I'm saying like if Peter Kay said it or something, you
on the one show, you're on the one show and you drop a tits.
Yeah, he'd probably just about get away with it. There might be like a bit of backlash.
I don't know. Tits has become Tits is the lightest one of all time now. And also, if you're in Australia, you can call people a cunt anyway. It doesn't matter.
Not on the news.
No.
Look at this cunt. We got an interview with this cunt. Let's roll the tape. Roll the bloody tape. Right, you cunt.
Exactly. It's just like a friend. It's like saying mate. It's good. It's a good word. Geez. Anyway, let's get off this topic. It's been a bit of a stressful one.
It's a little bit.
It's interesting.
It is so relevant to what's happening right now.
I think there is some light in the darkness. I think a lot of people are very loving and positive, and there's been fantastic stories of support and care and people looking after people. Amazing. I mean, coronavirus has brought us. Hopefully, this will create lasting change. Hopefully, this will make people.
I hope we can look back at it as a watershed moment.
I think we're going to see change in terms of how business is done. I think we're going to see change in how people are treated, and I think inequality is going to have to be addressed. And I think there's hopefully there will be change will come out of it, and hopefully the political elite will realise that it's their responsibility to be, I don't know, good people. And do the right thing, not be the evil guy, not be the evil dictator. Be someone who
I hope that works.
Treats people the way that they deserve to be treated, which is with love and support and care, and not knocking their windows, sniffing weed, and then tearing their seats open to find the meth that they had stashed there.
That's not a loving gesture at all.
Let's sort it out. Anyway, thank you for listening, everyone, and be good to each other. I know you guys are. We're preaching the converted here. It's just weird to get it off our chests, I guess. Go and tidy your room.
Yeah,
go and have a little clean up.
Go and tidy up your room and
clear your shed out.
Think about what you've done.
Chuck that thing
away. Think about what you've done. We're not mad.
Yeah.
We're disappointed.
Oh my god.
Thanks for listening. I think Flax might have been bombed by the CIA again.
Maybe.
Possibly his internet is busted. He's been very, very quiet. I think Discord is crashing.
It's rare that I actually get to talk for more than 5 minutes at a time.
Do you like that? It's kind of like we're like a basketball doubles. Like I let you get the slam dunk, even though I could have gone in there and easily done it myself. Like I could have probably done like a 360 in the air and slam dunk.
Yeah, you set me up for the layup, and it was just all good.
Yeah,
all 3 points all the way, baby.
Yeah. All if right. if you're interested in all of this stuff, like the
basketball,
the Black Lives Matter movement, and everything that's going on in the news and stuff, obviously go read up about it on places where that have good information and not opinion pieces like we've just given you. There's plenty of information out there. It's all very interesting as well to read, and there's definitely causes that you can support as well if you want to. Don't take it from three basement dwelling nerds who read about it from time to time.
Privileged, elderly white guys. Yeah,
that goes without saying in a lot of cases, but yeah, it's always important to sort of read more than we do about stuff and inform yourself.
But not too much, because reading the news can damage your mental health, and a lot of it is negative, and a lot of it is what they want money. News they want money. All the news media is all owned by rich people who want money, and they want to suck you in and addict you to their bad stuff and scare you. So remember that as well when you read the news.
Yeah,
you've got to take it with a pinch of salt and stay off angry Reddit pages and angry Twitter.
Man, okay, quickly
find a
listen. 2 minutes, okay? 2 minutes so we can leave on a light note, okay? And I mean it when I say a lighter note. Okay, you guys were talking about YouTube and the stuff that's in your YouTube recommended or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I went down a rabbit hole recently. Don't ask me how or why, but I started watching these fucking creepy ass unexplained top 5 unexplained photo videos. Have you ever seen these things?
No, they sound awful.
Okay, so there's like to give you an example, okay? A couple of guys in the 80s go to the Grand Canyon and they're out there by themselves. There's like 6 of them or whatever. It was like for a bachelor party or something. They're just having a fun time, having a couple of beers and just like admiring the Grand Canyon and taking a couple of pictures and stuff, just normal stuff that guys do. All right. So they take a picture of one of their friends, like, doing like the standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon sort of thing. And he's smiling and everybody's having a good time. And they're all like slapping each other on the ass and saying good hustle and stuff. And then they leave. Right. And they're like, all right, well, let's go.
Right.
So they get their pictures developed and they, all get together to look at these pictures of like the fun time they had and stuff. And they look at the picture of the guy who was like standing right near the edge of the canyon. And they notice that there's just some fucking dude that they've never seen before standing in a bush, like right behind him. And he looks creepy as fuck. Like he looks like Satan or something. He's got a hood on.
So sometimes it's just a picture that's been taken at an odd time or angle.
Yeah, of course.
Whatever,
yeah.
But yeah.
But they did like an enhanced, like they've gone through it and looked at it and they've said it's definitely a person. The photo has not been altered or anything. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like that, wouldn't that make you feel so fucking uneasy? Like just to think like, what the hell? Like, who is that guy? He wasn't with us. Like, who is he? Why is he even there? Like, and there's all these theories about like, he was probably trying to kill himself by jumping off the Grand Canyon. Then he heard like these 6 guys come by with the party and thought better of it and hid in the bush, or like there's all these different theories and you just think, fuck, that's so weird. And I think that's a tame one. Like there's some really fucking creepy ones. Like, pictures of like, a family staying in a hunting cabin over the weekend and like a kid takes a picture of like his dad sitting in a recliner or whatever. And, they're going about their business. And then they get home and they look at the picture and there's like some fucking dude just standing in the window, like behind, and nobody even noticed. He's just like out in the fucking backyard. It's like, what the fuck? Like it just creeps me. Wah! My skin is like crawling even just thinking about it. Wah! It's so fucking creepy. I don't know how like you feel good about that. Like you just think that like, I don't know. I would just be stressed constantly if I got home and looked at my holiday snaps and I found that. I feel like there were
my god, there was like a creepy guy in every single picture.
Yeah. I'd feel like there was like some supernatural force, or just like conspiring
maybe like not even a creepy
guy,
maybe just like a really wholesome old granddad like holding an ice cream.
Yeah,
like
man, it's
but it'd be really weird, like a smiling granddad just smiling really happily in every picture.
Yeah. So basically, if you,
how did he get into every single one?
If you were shit scared of unsolved mysteries as a kid, like I was, and you're looking to somehow relive some of that pant shittingly scaredness or whatever, then go look up some of these videos on. Man, they're so fucking creepy. But again, it's somehow Moorish as well. Like you just like can't stop watching them. Like I need to stop watching them. Honestly, I'm just gonna creep myself right the fuck out.
You can't stop though, because that's how YouTube works. YouTube will keep recommending you them until there's no more.
Until there's no more.
But they never stop. No. They're never going to stop those creepy ones.
So there you go. Sorry for creeping you out right at the end of the podcast. But thanks for listening. And we'll be back next week for some more podcasting. Yes?
Yes. Yeah, that sounds great.
We lost Flax. He's gone. I think he's just lost the internet. So
he's just
I'm
gone.
sure he says bye too. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Love you lots. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hello? Hello?